Alrighty guys, today I'm going to show you the improper way to put together a file server because I'm lazy, I don't have the correct parts to do it properly, and the parts are so old that I really don't care if it's done properly or not. Now, if you're looking for a video on how to do this properly, I'm sorry I can't help you because this system is old. I've lost many of the brackets that it requires to mount drives and things properly. If you're nitpicky and hate it when things are done improperly, I suggest you stop this video now. But if you're bored like I am, the entire reason behind this project, and you want to see something get put together for shits and giggles, well, continue watching. We have a Dell Optiplex GX150 with the GX150 motherboard. Has a 1.1 GHz Pentium 3, 512 megs of SD 133 MHz RAM, and well, that's really about it. And we'll be adding in a 64 meg Mad Dog graphics card from NVIDIA back in the day. It's got DVI, VGA, and S-Video out. We have a 120 gig Maxter drive, a couple of 80 gig Samsung spin point drives. We have the 1998 Seagate 4 gig hard drive here. This is what my FreeNAS operating system is installed on. So I'm kind of hoping that the drive isn't dead. I haven't used it in years, so we're just going to end up throwing this together and see if it boots into FreeNAS, and I could set up the array. But we have these two Samsung drives and this Western Digital 80 gig drive. Now, I don't have an IDE controller add-in PCI card, so we're just going to be using the two IDE slots that are on this motherboard. And this motherboard is incredibly picky about having both of those run two hard drives. It's really hard to get it to show up and be recognized in the BIOS. So chances are good we're going to have the 4 gig drive, the 120 gig drive, and maybe this Western Digital 80 gig drive in there. And that might work. My IDE cables are not in the best of shape. I've had them for many years. Some of these, as you can see, have small defects in the ribbon cable themselves that will probably prevent them from working, but I'm counting on at least two of these to work properly. But the reason why I chose the GX150 for a server platform is it's a Pentium 3, and these things can run for months without getting hot or breaking down. And this Pentium 3 will see nowhere near that amount of use. This is going to be powered on every now and then just to back up files that I can't fit on my external hard drive or my 1 terabyte drive in my gaming desktop. Now, powering all of this is going to be a SPI Sparkle Power 300 watt power supply. This power supply I've had for quite a while, and I was a bit sketchy. Didn't really know about Sparkle Power, but they've been around for quite a while. This power supply was pretty heftily built. It was in a gaming PC that somebody had given me, probably from the early 2000s. Everything inside the power supply looks brand new. It's got massive heat sinks, does a great job of keeping cool, and I have a feeling it'll have no problem powering this because it's not going to take anywhere near 350 watts. But I'm going to go ahead and start the assembly process, and we'll get back to you when steps are being completed. Alrighty guys, so I've come to the conclusion that my Sparkle power supply is not going to work in this build because it has an on-off switch on the back, of which this case has no accommodation for. So I'll be relying on my good old ancient Dell 200 watt power supply. This thing has been with me through thick and thin on many computer builds. It's been in servers and whatnot, run 24/7 at maximum loads, and it has never once steered me wrong. So I decided to open it up and make sure everything was good before I threw it in this computer. And I have to say, the one thing I give credit to Dell for is their incredibly overbuilt power supplies. This thing is rated for the total power on the 3.3 and 5 volt rail is 135 watts maximum output. The total continuous output power is 200 watts. And for a 200 watt power supply, just take a look at how built up this thing is. I see some really decent quality capacitors in there. Nothing is swollen. Everything is a little bit dusty, but I mean, the transformer is most definitely a little small, but it's only rated for 200 watts. And look at all the filtering on the power input. This thing is incredibly built up just for being a 200 watt. No wonder it's lasted so many years without even flinching. But I'm going to grab some Q-tips and we're going to clean some of the dust out of this before I put it into this case. So I'll be right back. Well, it's not a whole lot better, but it's a bit. I got some of the dust cleaned off the front of the fan and cleaned some of the rusting dust that was on the heat sinks and down in there, so that's all good. So I'm going to put it back together and get back to you. Alright, so after all is said and done, this is what it looks like. Power supply's in, cooling system's on, graphics card's in, RAM's good, drives are in, connected. All that's left to do is go get a monitor and power it up and see what happens. I'm going to try, I don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to try to share my laptop's internet connection and then LAN to the server to see if it'll give it a valid IP address. Because as far as everything is concerned, it should just boot straight into FreeNAS and be ready to go, and I could format these drives and set them up. So let's see what happens. Alrighty guys, well, everything is hooked up. I decided not to test this in the kitchen, but rather I have the Ethernet bridge to it off of my desktop, of which you guys actually weren't supposed to see yet. I just ordered this case a week ago, and I might as well tell you, I ordered a R7 370 4 gig MSI gaming series graphics cards. That is a graphics card that's coming in the mail. Should be here Wednesday or Thursday, so there'll also be a video on that, be some benchmarks and gameplay and whatnot. But yes, video overview of this case and graphics card coming soon. But got that bridged. I could see the network port flickering on the back of the PC there, so let's go ahead and give her the good old reach around, if you know what I mean, and see what happens. A, it blows up, or B, it works. So, smoke test. We have power. Now I honestly don't know what drive this is going to try to boot off of, because all of those drives do in fact have operating systems. I don't even know if it's going to recognize all the drives because I have most of them disabled in the BIOS. Okay, so we have a keyboard failure and primary drive not recognized. How much you want to bet a lot of those drives, the jumpers aren't set correctly. So keyboard failure, which means that the PS2 port on this motherboard is a little flaky, because if I wiggle this, we get some action. So 1 second guys, and I'll be right back. So I'm coming to the conclusion after like an hour of testing and troubleshooting that this motherboard only supports 2 IDE drives at a time unless you use an add-in PCI IDE controller. So what I did is I just added in the Maxter 120 gig drive, and It's got the Seagate drive with the free NAS operating system on it. I haven't booted it in like 3 years. So let's go ahead, give the system a reach around, and see what happens. It might help if I decide to plug in the power cord, which is down here at my feet. I mean, I guess power is just a little bit important when booting a PC. And it's powering on by itself. How convenient. Okay, that's no problem. Amount of system memory is changed. And the F1 key doesn't work on this keyboard. How glorious. Huh, nice. Okay, 1 second, guys. Alright, so after a few different tries, let's go ahead and boot the server. Now that I got it recognizing both of its memory sticks because one was a little dusty. So, here we go. This is booting into FreeNAS. You can hear that old Seagate drive. Okay, we want to boot default. And wait to see if it gives us a network address. This usually takes a sec. That old Seagate drive is not fast. Reliable though. Almost there. Definitely not the fastest boot up time in the world. I don't even know if this is gonna work because okay. Looks like it gave us a user interface address to type in, so let's go here and we want 192.168.137.1 148. And we are on the free NAS thing. Let's see. See if I actually remember this password. Yep. So we're running FreeNAS 8.3. Save password. So the system information, 494 megs of RAM, Intel Pentium 3, 1133 megahertz. Spent up for 4 minutes. We have alerts. So let's go to storage, and we want to volume manager. Okay, volume name, backups, okay, it's clearing that hard drive. Probably gonna take it a second, because I'm pretty sure that hard drive had a Windows operating system. But FreeNAS is by far some of the best free networking software you can get just to run a network attached storage device. And as you can see, I'm running it bridged through a Wi-Fi device, and it's working, which I did not expect. So, detach. Yes. Have to detach the old one. Okay, so we now have a 110 gig backups drive. System information, statistics, reporting. So I can see the system load right now is between 1 and 1.5%. You can see the processes, the uptime, CPU usage, swap utilization, physical memory utilization, I/O traffic, sharing. So let's see here. I have to remember how to do this. Okay, so want to change permissions. Sharing. Add share. Server. Backups. Path. says without guess. Show hidden files. Okay. That should give me the availability to it. Network. Turn on network discovery. Yes. Come on. Free NAS. Okay, so as you can see, I now have on my network a free NAS server that you can access, and here's my server backups folder, and we're gonna go ahead and copy, let's copy over Hitman Absolution. That's 14 gigs. Paste. And it's going at 11.3 megs per second, which over wireless, bridged and over wireless for this thing on a Pentium 3 isn't that bad. That is quite acceptable. Last time I had this set up, it got around 4 or 5 megs per second. If it was hardlined, it'd probably be faster. So it's going to take 14 minutes or 21 minutes to copy that file over. And if we go to the system and it's going to show me reporting. So the system load and CPU usage, which it doesn't seem to be refreshing. So analyze uptime, processes. So the system load is going up 1 minute. It's now up to, is there a way to have this refresh? Because it's not refreshing. But anyway, you get the idea. So that's how you make a really cheap free NAS server. And just use that to back up your files. So that's awesome. Still capping out at about 11 megs per second. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. It's probably quite long-winded, but enjoy, hit that like button, whatever. Have a good day.